Hey teacher friends, today I'm going to share my takeaways from the CUE Hootenanny. Now, you probably don't know what CUE is, you might not even have heard the word Hootenanny. I will explain it. Basically, I went to a day of learning about technology and education, working with other really smart techie people, and I'm gonna share with you my main things that I took away from that through the conversations I had with people. So, even if you're not a CUE person, you should still listen because I'm going to talk about my thoughts about education and the future of it. Alrighty? In case we haven't met yet, my name is Natalie Priester. I'm a teacher and I make videos for teachers. Most of them focus on blended learning, building relationships with kids, lots of stuff about books, and I also have started a teacher mom blog recently. Basically, I make videos and I think will be of use to other teachers. Before I get into the reflection stuff, I need to tell you about kind of what the day was. So CUE stands for Computer Using Educators. It's an affiliate of ISTE, which is the International Society for Technology and Education. Basically, these are two organizations for teachers who support using technology in the classroom. I'm a member of both of these groups. Now, I was on the invite list for the Hootenanny because I'm a lead learner. Look, it's on my shirt. I'm a lead learner for CUE, which means that I go and present professional development to other educators. This is the second year CUE hosted the Hootenanny. It's basically like a get-together day to share ideas with other lead learners and to just share big picture ideas about what CUE is doing. So the focus is more on conversations than going and learning a skill, which is what normal conferences are about. This year, the Hootenanny was held at the San Diego Maritime Museum, which is right on the water in San Diego. You've probably seen the Star of India, that really big pirate ship looking boat if you've been down to the waterfront in San Diego. The Maritime Museum is the same museum as the Star of India. We weren't on the pirate ship though. We were on the steam ferry boat next to it called the Berkeley. So on the water, P-Day was really small. I think there were about 50 people there, and most of them were people that I already knew through my PLN. Now, that's another acronym to throw at you. PLN means Personal Learning Network. So it's a bunch of educators that I've chosen to connect with, and our relationship is built on learning from each other. Okay, so let me give you my takeaways. The best conversation I participated in at the Hootenanny was led by Crewe Bo. He is the executive director of CUE. And first, we talked about how CUE is moving away from just putting on conferences, which is what they're known for, and more into becoming a membership organization where it's building relationships among its members and really using its membership to be able to change education, not just to teach people little things, but to help them change their thinking and to be able to become stronger at lesson design so that they can become more effective teachers and to change schools through making teachers even stronger. Now, an interesting analogy he gave, now I've heard him give this many times before, but he said that when it comes to teaching, it's like the teachers have the carne asada, they have the cheese, the salsa, the guacamole, the lettuce, they have all that stuff, but they don't know how to make a taco. So think about that. Teachers have all the pieces, but they don't quite always know how to put it together. Now, when some of us go and lead PD, we give teachers all those parts. It's like, hey, here's this one tool, and then we give them another tool, or here's one strategy. They have all these things, but it's almost overwhelming to put it together. And if you spent any time looking for ideas online about teaching, you know how overwhelming it is. There's so many things all over the place, but we don't always know how to put it together in a way that's most effective for kids. Along with this, there was also a conversation about people putting products before the learning that needs to take place. And the word work shits was thrown around too, that there's too many work shits, just giving these kids these little tiny things, but they don't all come together for a really big picture, wholesome, intentional learning experience for kids. And teachers need to learn lesson design in order to be able to do this, but they need to learn lesson design in a way that's not hard or cumbersome or exhausting, because then they won't do it. So we have to find that sweet spot to help teachers learn lesson design and to be more effective, and that's more of the direction as to where CUE is moving. So it's not just going to be about computers. Now, teachers use those computers, but it's not just about the computers. It's about the learning and the education and the kids more than the tools, because you can't just have that carne asada thing. You just have the tool. You need to have it all come together and work together. And we've been using technology in our schools long enough that we can move away from oh, how to use a shiny thing. A lot of us already know that. We've got the shiny things, but we need to be able to use them now and use them intentionally. The second most meaningful part of my day came from the happy hour afterwards. Now, a secret to teacher stuff. A lot of times, if you use it effectively and you build a really strong PLN of really educated people, that happy hour is the sweet spot where sometimes the best conversations take place because everybody's guards down, you're just talking, you're getting to know people, it's easy to move in and out of conversations. Well, we were at dinner at Stone Brewing in Liberty Station. I love that place, by the way. We were at Liberty Station talking, and I had this great conversation about social media and education. And I've learned that there's two groups now. Most of the EdTech people hang out in that Twitter sphere. They're all in Twitter and all about Twitter. Now, I personally have gotten frustrated with Twitter because I feel like it's like spitting into the wind. I can make something that's really high quality and insightful, post it, no one sees it, it goes nowhere. But people who are more popular than me on Twitter, they say something like ridiculous or something someone else already said, and they get a million tweets and all these replies and it goes crazy. So if you're like an underdog like me, you're not this big influencer person, it's not useful. Now, of course, the influencers are going to tell you to use Twitter because they all do and they want you to follow them. Anyways, this is a side rant. Okay, enough about Twitter. So techie people are on Twitter, but the people at this conference were like unaware of the teacher presence on Instagram. And I've noticed that the teachers on Instagram are a lot younger. Way younger, like the rookie. I'll call you baby teachers because you are. I've been teaching a long time. I'm not a baby. The babies and even the pre-teachers, like the super babies, are on Insta. And there's like this disconnect growing and we're not reaching each other. And then I talked about how, well, the Insta teachers are all using Teachers Pay Teachers. And it's this huge growing thing. And they're not looking at going to conferences or working with coaches. They're just buying stuff for their classroom. And I think a lot of it ties back to that like work shits conversation earlier. No offense. I know a lot of you watch me probably use and love Teachers Pay Teachers. I know a lot of my Instagram friends do. But just let me throw this out at you because this is what some people don't know about and this is kind of how I see it. So a lot of people are just selling stuff on there and it's almost like just more products and buy and buy and buy. And then a lot of that stuff is made by really rookie teachers. And I know my first few years of teaching, I should not have been making things to give to people. Now, I'm sure they would have come in handy and been useful, but I kind of didn't know what I was doing. And I was just doing, well, maybe I could have made you like some good plot diagrams or something, but the richness has come from my years of teaching. And I'm afraid that new teachers are following the people just right above them and not really looking for the people who've done a lot more research and expertise. Now, I've been teaching for more than 15 years and I sometimes still don't feel like I have high quality enough stuff to give to people. And I don't think it's just my own insecurities. It's because like there's people who are way more educated than me in research and they figured this stuff out. In fact, a lot of things I present, they come based on research and findings that I've done. But the baby me, no, I shouldn't have been making things to give to people. I should have been able to figure out how to control my own classroom and getting to know my own kids and my community and the culture I was teaching in my school and how things worked and not just making work shits to give to people. Also, we had a good conversation about the pretty. This came up a couple times throughout the day, but we talked about a lot of happening. Like, why do teachers think they have to make everything pretty? That has zero effect on learning, zero. In fact, if you actually read research, simple, clean, empty learning environments are way more beneficial to kids than loading it up with crap. And this ties back to a conversation I had earlier at the Hootenanny. When you're deciding on fonts, don't offend your audience. Don't give your kids fancy fonts they can't read. All that cursive pretty stuff, they can't read that. Also, don't write in a baby font when you're sending a letter home to your parents. Like, use an educated font for them, something more serious. So it's like, all this fonts and pretty, is it really purposeful? Is it really serving your audience? If the kids are the people in your room, should you be using all these fancy fonts when they're still learning to decode? It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, okay. So I had a conversation about the pretty and how it's ridiculous and like, but I'm gonna tie the pretty to more. I don't know why teaching has gotten tied to makeup and to your clothes and all this stuff that's all pretty, pretty, pretty. Like, seriously, girls, we're not Barbies in a dream house in our classroom. We're here to teach the kids and actually teach them smart stuff. And that's what we should be focusing on, not the way things look. Okay, so the point of the conversation was that we have two groups of people and all these different groups of educators, and we need them to kind of like sync together. Like, I know a lot of really influential, really smart people on Twitter, and I want them touching those little baby teachers I see on Instagram who don't know any better. Like, they just don't know. They think that's what they're supposed to be doing, but if they really learned lesson design, like if I could just teach them all some station rotation or teach them how to do a flex model in their classroom, how to use their textbooks and supplement it with a 20-time project, it would be so great and their lives would be so much richer and their kids would be so much better prepared to become adults. So those are all things I'm working on, and I love working on, and I enjoyed talking to people about how to continue doing that. So it's been a week since I attended the Hootenanny, and I've just been mulling over my conversations, looking at my notes, and really thinking, like, hey, what are my big takeaways from this? And seeing it through the lens of everything I know about what's going on. And here's what I've best come up with. You know the saying, if you give a man a fish, he will eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, and he eats forever. That's the approach I want to take from here on out, and the view I want to take when it comes to helping other teachers. If you're just giving people fish, if you just give them a tool, you give them a product, you just give them a worksheet, you tell them to go use Flipgrid, you just give them something, that will work for right now, but that's not teaching them. If someone buys your worksheet, sure, it works for a day, but then what's gonna happen the next day? And are they gonna be as fulfilled if they knew how to go out and find their own things and put them together in a way that really, really worked for their kids? So I'm gonna focus on that. And to go back to the food thing, so like, I think we should not just take teachers to make tacos. Okay, John? What I want them to do is to make fish tacos, okay? But I want them to go out, catch their own fish, put it in the taco, take all the tools, put it together, put in the sauce of like their neighborhood and the community and their special needs of their kids and their parents, put all that together, make the most beautiful fish taco you've ever seen for their kids. And it will be perfect. By the way, I won't be eating any of those tacos because I'm a vegetarian. But looking back overall at the CUE Hootenanny, I am motivated to keep working on sharing what I know is best for kids and what I know is best for teachers and not what's popular. I'm going to try to teach teachers how to fish, get them to read, learn on their own, because I want them to be able to customize their classroom for their kids. And now it's time for my question of the week. What are your thoughts on the tacos and fish thing? As an educator, do you feel like people are just throwing tools and worksheets and things at you? Or are people sharing big picture ideas about how to cook and how to make those tacos and how to put it together? Leave comments below. I want to know what your experience is like as a learner. If you're a leader, do you think you're just sharing piece by piece or helping people to become better teachers on their own for their kids? And now, of course, time for all that fun YouTube stuff. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you won't miss any. If you loved this video, please share it with your teacher friends. Speaking of friends, we should be friends. My social media links are below. I'm the most active on my Instagram. Thank you so much for watching, friends. I'll see you next time. Bye. Did I show you this yet, by the way? I got a patch. It spoke right to my Girl Scouty soul. I don't know if I told you, but there it is.